Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining me here. Well, I am back from my wonderful 10-day Vipassana, and goodness, there is so much going on. I feel like I went at the perfect time with us having a solstice coming up and all the wonderful and beautiful opportunities that are arising. It felt only appropriate to create a little video here to share a little bit of a somewhat of an energy forecast for the next few weeks to support you. Um, Hopefully, that's my intention, that it will be supportive to you. To share a little bit of the takeaways from the Vipassana, to share a little bit about what a silent retreat is like. I've had many questions. I figured the best way to do that would be to do a little video. Although for those that follow me on Instagram and on my YouTube, you'll have seen the longer interview that I already did with my very dear friend Jerome from the States. And that is quite an in-depth, really laughter-filled discussion about Vipassana. I also wanted to talk a little bit about love. And this may be a topic that is spoken about a lot, maybe not a lot. Maybe it's one of those that you go, not again. Or maybe it's one of those where you go, actually, I want to hear this. I had the pleasure and privilege this weekend of going to one of my friend's weddings. And I was so inspired when I was there. This was a friend that I've known for more than half of my life. And to see her marry her best friend was one of those experiences that you have, especially when the room is filled of people that are just in these really incredible partnerships, where it can inspire you in a world where we can be so focused on some of the challenges and some of the obstructions of what we deem to experience in our spiritual world, or the world that is awakening, as is the common phrase, or ascending. To then go to a wedding that is just filled with such love, that is to witness two people that have truly figured it out. And it's so interesting to me, especially with the work that I do and the joy that I get from helping each one of you that book in for a one-to-one or a reading or anything like this, and just in my own life as well. And speaking of one-to-ones, I do have availability for those that are emailing asking, when do you have appointments? I have some right now. I have a handful left for June. If it calls to you for an hour channeled guidance or for a soul acceleration appointment, now is the time to book, just in time for the solstice. But yeah, this wedding really inspired me. And it reminded me that no matter the walk of life that we're in, we are all human here on earth, having our own very unique experience. And it doesn't have to be convoluted. It doesn't have to be challenging. It doesn't have to be fraught with challenge or oppression or anything like that. It can truly be in a very grounded way, really perfect in its imperfections. My friend said something, just a sentence that really stuck with me. And she said, and it sounds so simple, she said, I would highly recommend marrying your best friend. And I was like, that is just beauty. I would highly recommend marrying your best friend. And, you know, every human has their own version of what love is. And for those who know the psychology of, of love as well, it tends to come from the attachment or the relationship that we had with our parents until we heal that. But it was just so wonderful to hear my friend say this, because it was one of those moments where you go, Do you know, I think sometimes we can forget the art of just making friends. I see it I see it out and about nowadays. I wonder if you see it sometimes as well, where people are so eager to prove themselves, to prove their accolades or to prove their accreditations or certifications of what they feel that they can do. And we forget that it's not about what we can do for one another. It's not about how we can be of service to one another, which is very lovely to want to be of service, but it's about, can we be ourselves? Can we be ourselves? Unapologetically, can we just be ourselves around those around us? The people that we spend time with, are we being ourselves? Are we being true to ourselves? And what does that even really mean? Being true to self. Once again, being true to yourself is not about what you like or what you don't like, or whether you feel someone's impeding upon your boundaries. Being true to yourself is knowing that when you are in alignment, no one can trigger you. Not a parent or a sibling or a friend turned foe. No one can trigger you. You're untriggerable because you're being true to you. And this was where my mind was going. I was going, I highly recommend marrying your best friend. Most people would have just heard that and just let that slide, but they'd have heard that and just gone, yeah, okay, that's a fair comment. And I'm here going, no, 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 I think people have forgotten this. What even is friendship? What even is that? You know? And it's so easy for so many of us to point out red flags in one another, to say, oh, that's a toxic trait. Oh, that person's a hot mess. That person's toxic. That person, oh, red flags all around. And we forget that if we want the space holding, if we want to be accepted exactly as we are, we're not perfect. No one is. No one has got it all figured out really to the point where everything is healed and we're untriggerable. But there are those that can inspire us to feel good, to follow our passion projects and our creative inspiration. There are those that we can spend time with that build us up, no matter what they say, no matter what we say we want to do, or no matter what we say is giving us joy. They go, good, I got your back. You don't even have to doubt it. You don't even have to doubt it. That's the type of friendship I want. It's unfortunate because that's the type of friendship that I have with many, but it's seldom found for a few as well. But we also have to feel comfortable knowing that we might rock the boat. Because for someone to shine a light, we forget that the light is only valid and it only is needed when there is shadow around. Without the shadow, the light doesn't exist. They validate one another. So we also have to recognize that if we wish to go with an identity that we've chosen, because everything is a choice, even what we think our soul mission is, or who we think that we should be with, or what relationship we have or have had in a past life, or whatever, and whatever we're called to do, it doesn't really matter. It's all a choice. It's all a choice. Being here on this earth is very, very simple, really. And this leads me a little bit into the Vipassana, because what I came to realize in these 10 days of silence is that there is so much space filled with nothingness, like unimportant stuff. And I'm going, who is it saying that? When someone just starts talking random stuff that isn't of any care to them, like someone walking down the street and just saying, oh, yeah, oh, it's busy in town, oh, there's traffic on the roads, oh, this, that, and the other, and you're going, okay. We will be talking about the solstice because I know a lot of you will be watching this video for that. So do stay tuned because I'll do that after I've spoken a little bit about the Vipassana. Because the solstice there's a lot of stuff coming up for that. But just to share a little bit about this retreat that I went on. So it was a Buddhist retreat, as Vipassana is. And it's a 10-day course. Now, I took my course at the IMC, which is the International Meditation Centre. There's one in Headington, in Wiltshire. But obviously, as the name implies, it's international. They are dotted around. If you Google IMC, I'm sure you'll be able to find one. But when you arrive, you arrive, you check in, you get shown around. show them where you'll be meditating, show them where you'll be staying. The men and women segregate, whilst you're there. And after the first, and you give in your phone, so you give your mobile phone in, and that's for good reason. And I understand now why, because some people couldn't quite get their head around me saying, I'm going on a silent retreat and you can't even have your phone. No, no phone. No phone. No phone. And for me, I find that very easy. I find it very easy to give up my phone. I'm just going, okay, yeah, there you go. You have it. So for 10 days without a phone, and it was wonderful. And we would awaken at 4 a.m. and lights out at 9. And for 10 hours a day, we would meditate. But not just any meditation, not a visualization, which is what most of us do here, where someone is guiding and the mind is following, like an awake dream, a daydream, or an astral projection. And it wasn't like a meditation where you are feeling the body or feeling a sensation or focusing on something like that. This was the meditation of all meditations, I would call it, because it's the simplest, the one that will unify and have the biggest impact on anyone's life. I say that at this point in my life without a shadow of a doubt, that it is the one meditation that I actually think if I was to give up every meditation, only focus on one, which would it be? It would be this one. Because of how effective and simple it is. And we started with what is called the Anapana meditation. Once again, I'm going to share what these were like, but I would highly recommend, if you are called for whatever reason to go on a silent retreat, to go and experience it rather than take my word for it, because it is purely experiential. You can't really speak it enough, even after going through one. Like, I want to go back. I want to go back each month. Don't know that I can put 10 days out my calendar each month, but I want to be going back regularly, and I will be doing that. But the Anapana meditation is where you are unifying your mind. You're controlling your mind. And it is something that, for anyone that is wanting to develop their gifts, their psychic abilities, their telepathy, whatever it may be, cannot do so without this particular aspect. Because what I have come to find in my life and with everyone that I work with is that for those that are empathic, for those that are psychic, for those that are highly visual or work in the Akash or anywhere like that, it's quite interesting because we have these abilities, yet we do not have the control or the discipline of the mind. That might rock some boats saying that, but we don't. No one who is speaking online, I think, has that at this point in time. It's something that we're remembering. So the Buddhists, they teach first, you must follow the precepts. So these are your moralities. These are, you're not going to kill any living being. You're not going to steal. You're going to be truthful, not going to tell any lie. You're not going to be overly, sexual in a way that is depleting of your energy. Obviously at the retreat, you're celibate. But they're not against you being in a relationship and doing things like that. Of course, you make your own choices with things like this, but the point is to be in control of your energy, to be in control of your faculties. And the fifth one, I think I actually already mentioned it a bit earlier, but the fifth one is, not speaking ill of anyone. So not lying and not speaking ill. And it's fascinating because even in today's world, no matter how spiritual we are, we find ourselves talking about other people. Even if it's just someone might have done something to you and you want to share it with a friend because you're processing, you're talking about them in an ill way. And it's fascinating because a lot of the things that we speak about in the spiritual world is about this oneness of heart and this unconditional love and this, that, and the other, yet at the same time, we don't fully understand what that is yet. So this is what the Anapana meditation will start to teach, is it'll start to teach unconditioned. It'll start to teach this unification of mind, where you can ignore and close out everything else. And this comes in very handy for if you're quite psychic, because if you are psychic, you are relying on a connection from another being. So that is, for example, an angelic or a star being or an ascended master, or you're perhaps relying on telepathic communication from another being. So you're relying externally, your energy is external, your field is very open. Now, when your field is very open, you're very susceptible to other energies coming in, posing and convincing us that we could, that they are a certain thing or they are this, that, and the other, but we don't necessarily know. Now, if you think to all of the ascended masters that we even speak of, for example, Yeshua or Mary's or Kuan Yin, Serapis Bey, none of those were ever really reported to be channeling other beings. They were channeling their highest self. They had self-become and self-realized. So I love this a lot because this meditation technique was so simple. Focus only upon the place in which the breath touches the skin, nothing else. Don't follow the breath. Don't acknowledge the sensations, whether pleasurable or not. Don't, be in control of your body. Try to be still. And for 10 hours a day, we would meditate. An hour here, a group meditation there, a discourse, so like Buddhist teachings here, lunch break there, and it was blissful, inexplicably blissful. People go for different reasons, and that's what I found out when I first arrived, is that people were there for different reasons. Some people had booked it because they didn't know why. They just booked it. They thought it was a good idea. They just felt a calling to go. Some people wanted to really work on their own mindset. Some people wanted to work on their emotional health. Lots of different reasons. I'd always wanted to do Vipassana, and I never knew why. It was one of those where I was always called to it. But the reason for me, which is incredibly profound and perhaps quite personal to share, was I had realized that I had formed an attachment with someone very close to my heart. I formed an attachment that I really wanted to release because I didn't want it to impact. I was recognizing that there's a trauma here. Once again, we all have these and they all show up every single day. But it was fascinating. So I went for an emotional reason. I went to really regain control over my emotions because I felt like I was starting to show signs of forming a codependency. And I was like, oh, I can't do that. That's going to jeopardize the relationship, firstly, that I have with this person. Not to mention the relationship I have for myself, with myself. And so I was like, oh, okay, right. Well, this is the perfect time then, because I'm noticing that my emotions are getting a little bit volatile and I need to understand why. Like, not volatile in a big way, but just kind of like sometimes I'd be a little bit upset. I'm going, oh, okay, I shouldn't be upset that this person has said or done this. I shouldn't be upset about that. And so I went to this retreat, and it was fascinating because the epiphanies and the healing which arose from literally from the start of day one, indescribable, absolutely indescribable. And my mind, of course, would create daydreams and visualizations and start to kind of go off on tangents, trying to understand and justify and la la la. And I keep bringing my attention back to the breath, back to the breath, back to the breath. But you don't actually even notice the progress that you're making until you exit. You get your phone back, you exit, you start to talk again after 10 days of silence. And you just realize how even more calm you are, how much more love and stability you are now housing without even realizing. And you might think that previously you housed a lot, and you go, wow, actually, there is so much more work to do here. You go into there realizing that you've never actually fully or really meditated before in your life, even though you may meditate every single day like I do. I meditate every day and I have done for years. It's one of those where I came to the realization that I was like, I actually haven't properly meditated ever. I've visualized and I've focused on sensations, and I've raised an energy this way, and I've, released an energy that way, and I've done this and I've done that. And I followed very ancient and old practices as well. But nothing really kind of compares to this. I'm not going to go on too much longer about the Vipassana. Because obviously that hasn't even got to Vipassana. Vipassana is a third type of meditation, which once you have got a grip a little bit on the mind control meditation, the Anapana meditation, once you've got a grip on that a little bit, that's what develops your bliss, your state of bliss. Once you've developed that state of bliss, you can then go on to Vipassana. And it's continual practice, but then you can go on to Vipassana where you start to release condition around everything, where you can actually start to awaken. And when I use the term awaken here, I'm using it in the Buddhist sense of like what the walking masters start to attain, where they actually do have those gifts of pure telepathy, for example, or telekinesis or things like that, but they've done it with strong roots, with a balanced and controlled mind. And it was very, very fascinating. So where the higher self is actually becoming rather than relying on an external source, so it was really, really interesting and provided a lot of food for thought. And it's definitely changed my meditation practice, and it's definitely augmented my energy field and my disposition. It's really beautiful. I would highly recommend it. Very, very enjoyable experience. But why do I bring this up right now? It was funny because on the email that I sent out before I went, I was talking about the transcending that Gemini season can bring, because Gemini is so incredibly chatty, ruled by Mercury, that mercurial energy that is all about the mind and communication and how we work and process and things like that. And when you have the Gemini season, a lot can kind of come up. And this is what it seems is happening for many, is that these different directions, different inspirations, curiosities, social butterfly type of things. And these are the qualities of Gemini, right? Social butterfly, curiosity, playfulness, inspirations. But then it can get to a point where it's so overwhelming. Where do we start? But it can get to a point where we even risk being a little bit flaky, perhaps, or we risk being all air and no earth, We can even risk some of the shadows of Gemini season, which is, like gaslighting and gossiping and manipulation, which every sign has, but it can be heightened in a sign such as Gemini if we are in our shadow. And now is a better time than any to be practicing a meditation where you are literally focusing on one single point to control the mind, rather than letting the mind shoot out. But the reason why I share that is because with this solstice coming up, there's a lot of twists and turns. And they're good. A lot of relationship stuff. Venus, I believe, has just had her Kazemi, I think, is she now gone into the underworld? Someone can correct me in the comments if I'm incorrect in saying that. But she's rebirthed now. And a lot is able to reveal itself if we are not arrogant or stubborn enough to block out the wisdom. If we wish to be the teacher, we must always eternally be the student. Our pride must never get in the way of what we are here to do. And so for those that struggle with pride, which many of us do without realizing it's incredibly subtle, we will be shown and offered opportunities to be humble. And as with any solstice, if you're in the northern hemisphere, we're at the summer solstice, which is the longest day. It is masculine time, so there's a lot of uprising of energy. There's a lot of yang energy in the air, a lot of that can be confrontational. You can have that in the winter solstice as well, but the winter solstice is the peak of feminine energy, the dark, the rest, the rejuvenation. So if you're in the southern hemisphere, allow that feminine energy to let you nurture yourself, but don't get stuck in the depression that can come alongside it in the shadows. Keep yourself moving, keep yourself resting, allow yourself to do what you need to do and to flow, especially if you're a woman as well, because you'll be a little bit more susceptible to the flows month by month, hormonally, and the cyclical nature. But whether you're in the northern or southern hemisphere, move your body, practice meditation, and practice the gratitude that you wish to be. Practice seeing and choosing what you see. You don't really need me to say that to you, but choose what you wish to see. I had a memory jump up on my social media today, and it was a memory from 5, 6 years ago, 7, 8, maybe, I don't know. And I took a photograph. I was in Milton Keynes, and I took a photograph at the Peace Pagoda, where there is a tree with ribbons attached to it. And I remember putting this photograph up, and I didn't really write any comment with it, but the comments that people wrote underneath it was such a dualistic spectrum. There were those that were saying, look at all the blessings on that tree. Look how colorful it is. Look how wonderful it is. And then there were those that going, frowning and scowling, going, that poor tree with all those ribbons on it. Choose how you wish to be. And if you find that your life is chaotic or volatile or not as good feeling as you want it to be, feelings and emotions are sensational, they're conditional, they're biochemical, they will change. Anicca, 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 as the teacher said of Vipassana, they will change. And good, they are meant to. But your state of being, that is something which is practiced and embodied over time. And it comes from behavior, it comes from patterning, it comes from repetition. How do you choose to see? Is the cup half empty? Is it half full? To me, it's full. Full of water up to here and full of air up to there, overflowing with air. But no, I joke a little bit. But this time as well, there's never been more of an opportunity to receive more abundance. It's never been more of an opportunity to receive more abundance now than ever before. But just allow yourself to see that abundance in different ways. Maybe it's the inspiration that's gracing you right now. There's a lot of inspiration in the air. That is Gemini season for you. Let it drop in, let it percolate your beautiful mind. Receive the ideas and then allow yourself to act on it. Let those ideas jump in, get them down on paper, create with them. Because you got Leo season coming up soon and it's going to merge with your heart through Leo season. Going to add some fuel, that inspiration, make it into a beautiful creation. And by the time you get to Virgo season, it's birthed from that mutable sign of Earth. So much abundance in every which way. And for those that feel a little bit tight in the wallet right now, if you can, release your thoughts around abundance, around money and whatever may be pressing upon you, and focus upon what makes you smile, what makes your heart sing. Focus on the inspirations, the creations, the ideas dropping in. Focus on the songs of the birds and that you get to hear that on the ever-changing weather, nourishing our beautiful planet. Focus on whatever you need to it. Maybe it's puppy dogs or kittens or alpacas. Focus on whatever makes you smile. I'm going to draw some cards in just a moment, but I do want to say if there is anyone that is drawn to any of the crystals that have come my way, I am honored to be a guardian of so many, many crystals, but for some, there are some pyramids here that will also help in the run-up to Lion's Gateway that some may find very potent and powerful. And I'm just going to show you now. And of course, you don't have to pay attention if it's not your thing. But crystals and crystal pyramids have a way of really focusing, refining, and magnifying and anchoring a certain light. So I have some crystals here I'm going to show you that are on my other page, Ascension Crystals of the One True Heart. A trio of wonderful lapis lazuli, or lazuli, however you say it. Some wonderful pyrite flecks and specks. If you are feeling like you wish to really start to work with pyramids, if they are calling you, which they perhaps will be right now, with Lionsgate coming up, some amethyst ones with rainbow inclusions. Wonderful sets of 3. All with their inner sacred geometry, their rainbows. Clear quartz too. Perfect for gridding and perfect for anchoring light and intention. Whatever is called for you, we have returning some friends for our healers, the amethyst ones, the highest grade available. Once again, with rainbows inside, all attuned to Saint Germain and Archangel Zadkiel, with the violet rainbow fire within each one. But I do just want to give a shout out to the last few crystal skulls that I have from the Shaman collection, the Earth Warrior collection. I have this incredible Indian agate, looking for his light worker, looking for his shaman. So if one of your inspirations is to work more with Gaia, work more on your soul purpose, and you feel like some of these beautiful beings are here to help you, please do reach out at crystals@aliceheath.com. Another Indian agate, beautiful crystal skull. And finally, a very rare petersite, the last of the petersite crystals. I'm going to draw some cards right away. Golden earth, pyrite spheres. Oh gosh, it was someone that had messaged me asking if I could actually in my next video just show some of the crystals that I had, because they were trying to keep track of all of them on all the individual posts. So forgive me for anyone watching this wanting to watch just for the solstice energies, but I said I would do on the next video. I would show everyone. For the Lemurian lovers, we have two beautiful, very clear, all with rainbow inclusions. An incredible potency. Two Lemurian beauties that would love to be a pair, but will also go individually. They anchor divine union, these ones. They are crystals of divine masculine and divine feminine. They work beautifully together as a pair, but also are whole within themselves. So wherever they are meant to go, I know that they will soon find their home. That was a story. That wasn't a crystal. That was I have a sacred geometrical design that's sat on the other side of my desk. It's just gone. So it happens when you point a Lemurian quartz the wrong way. Oh my goodness, that's funny. Okay, let's draw some cards. I laugh because sometimes people underestimate crystals, right? And one of my friends, I have a beautiful Lemurian twin flame point, and one of my friends really, really loves it. She's borrowed it for a little while, and it helps her replenish. You can have a nap with it and feel like she's got all the energy in the world. And obviously, you know, most of you on here know the power and potency of Lemurian quartz. But she didn't quite get how powerfully beautiful they are. And I was saying to her, I was like, yeah, I have some shungite towers. I have some little shungite pyramids as well, just like these, which are great for EMF and psychic attack blocking and things like that. But I have some shungite towers dotted around my house that I'd got a few months back just to help with the EMF. They look like this. So I have some of them around my house. I just bought a television a few weeks back. I never watch it, but I was like, oh, maybe I can do movie night with some friends or a loved one. And then I put the shungite around the TV, knowing that I wanted to kind of shield the rest of the room from the EMF. Disconnect the potency of the shungite because it's really high grade. It disconnected the TV from the Wi-Fi. I had to move it away from the telly a bit. So I just love it when people are a little bit new to crystals, perhaps, so they don't really know yet how to work with them. Like sometimes people don't know how to work with crystal skulls, or they don't know how to work with the incredible pyramids. And yeah, I'm just like, oh gosh, crystals reminding me here how powerful they are. But anyway, let's just draw some cards to conclude this. This is quite a long video now. I just want to send you all loads of love. I want to send you all loads of love. This solstice is going to be really, really beautiful, really powerful. Allow yourself to be all that you wish to be, but it does require mind control. It does. Solstices are always very powerful. They're gateways and portals. Do let yourself be in control of your own mind. Because if you can be in control of your own mind and not swayed and not moved by passive streams and external energies, then you actually really get to embody who you are. So let's see which beings are working with us through the solstice. And of course, we have some of the usuals like Mother Mary and Horus. Oh my gosh. Commander Ashtar coming through very strong and very proud. Leadership, activation, time to evolve. This solstice is a time to evolve. Trust in your abilities to guide others. Trust in your ability to guide yourself. It is time to transcend fear. Face your fear. You cannot do anything with fear there, because if you lead, yet fear is still present, then you are disempowered and you are leading from fragmentation. So face your fear, walk into it, and let yourself become one. It's because you are in a manifestation vortex, as says Horace. Belief make manifest. What are you actually believing? What does your subconscious believe? Your thoughts attract and your thoughts create. If you want your reality to shift, shift your thoughts, but you have to shift on the subconscious too. Hey, for those of you that are still here on this video at this point in time, I also have a wonderful event coming up with Tim on the 11th of July. A wonderful healing cocoon, restorative and regenerative, really, really beautiful, beautiful healing Zoom. So if you're called to it, please feel welcome to book through my website. And hopefully, fingers crossed, I will also have Stripe enabled soon. I just have to have an update on some of the coding on my website. So for those that struggle with PayPal, Stripe will be available soon. I just don't know when. Mother Mary is also here supporting us through June and through the 7/7 portal and onwards. Miraculous encounters, divine experiences. Once again, do not be afraid of being powerful. This is the thing. Sometimes we fear the power, and maybe we look to others and think that they have power in the world, what others might do. But the really cool thing is that they do not have power over you. But if we fear that from another, or if we feel a little bit disgruntled or a little bit out of sorts around someone else's energy, there's a part of you that still believes that they have power over you. And so that shows you where the aura may be leaking, where your aura may need tweaking, where you may need to control more of the mind to stop those shadows from speaking. And if you're looking for a crystal to help, that's why this guy comes in handy. Okay, last couple of cards now for the summer solstice, or winter solstice if you're in the southern hemisphere. Oh, beautiful. We have the Venusian Galactic Council here. And of course, the Venusians are very strong right now with Venus at her Kazumi. Star being guides to answer the call. It's time to shine. One and all. Angelic frequency coming in. You are supported. The earth is supported. No need to fear. You are safe. Just like in your relationships, you're safe. Let's learn how to communicate through this Gemini season. Because that's the biggest thing that blocks true relation. That's the biggest thing that stops us, as my friend says, marrying your best friend. Because we forget to make those that we wish to intertwine with. We forget to build the foundations and become best friends. Intimacy requires trust, which requires communication. Whether that's intimacy in friendship, intimacy in a familial sense, or intimacy in romance. And finally, we have the Orion activation, rebirthed by the light. Look at that portal that you're going through. That's where you are right now. So this is a very, very powerful and beautiful solstice to be had. Don't get distracted by anything around. There's all-encompassing love to be found. It starts within and it radiates. It radiates all around. I love you all so very much. And I appreciate you all so very much. And I look forward to those that I will get to work with this month and for some of July. And if it calls to you to work one-to-one, please go to my website and book in whilst there are spaces still there. I think there's maybe about four spaces left or so for June. They're all going to be around the solstice, or just after. So much love to each one of you. Bye.